Most people assume intimacy fades away once someone crosses 65, but the truth is far more surprising. Some older adults not only stay sexually active, they report more meaningful, more connected, and more satisfying experiences than they did decades earlier. So the real question becomes, what separates people who thrive sexually in later life from those who struggle? And that's where things start to get interesting, because the answers are not what most people expect. As we age, our bodies change, hormones shift, and energy levels naturally fluctuate. But something unexpected remains steady: the human desire for closeness. In fact, several studies show that older adults who feel satisfied with their sex lives often enjoy better physical health, better mood, and even stronger longevity markers. But what predicts that kind of satisfaction? And why do some people maintain it while others watch it fade? To understand this, researchers in Germany followed thousands of adults over multiple years. They collected data in 2002, 2008, and 2011, surveying anywhere from 3,500 to more than 5,000 participants each time. Two age groups were studied: adults between 40 and 64, and adults 65 and older. And here's where the first twist appears. Older adults, as expected, reported more chronic illnesses. The wear and tear of life accumulates, and conditions like hypertension, arthritis, and diabetes become more common. But depression rates, surprisingly similar in both age groups. That alone challenges a major assumption about aging and mental health. When participants were asked how important sexuality was to them, the older group rated it lower by about 1 point. A small difference, yet statistically significant. It suggests something subtle. Intimacy still matters, but it shifts in meaning as people grow older. But then the researchers noticed another pattern, one they didn't expect. Cognitive function declined with age, which is normal. But the number of close social connections also declined sharply. Many older adults had fewer people they interacted with regularly. It's not just shrinking friend groups. It's retirement, relocation, loss, and lifestyle changes slowly carving away at social circles. This detail would turn out to be one of the strongest predictors of sexual satisfaction later on. But more on that in a moment. First, let's address the most obvious finding. Sexual satisfaction generally decreased with age. But that decline wasn't the story. What mattered more were the factors that determined who maintained satisfaction and who experienced the steepest drop. Poor health was one factor. People who rated their health as low or who dealt with multiple illnesses reported lower sexual satisfaction. Pain, limited mobility, fatigue, these can all affect desire and comfort. But even here, the researchers found exceptions. Some older adults with medical issues still maintained high levels of satisfaction, which raises the next big question: what allowed them to maintain it? The first major predictor was loneliness. Older adults who felt lonely were dramatically less likely to feel satisfied with their sex lives. This wasn't a small effect, it was one of the strongest correlations in the entire study. Loneliness affects confidence, emotional closeness, communication, and the ability to connect with a partner. And here's the cliffhanger: loneliness is increasing worldwide, especially among older adults, meaning this predictor may become even more important in future generations. The second predictor was personal attitude. People who considered sexuality important were far more likely to be satisfied. Why? Because when someone values intimacy, they actively maintain it. They communicate, seek help, try new approaches, and adapt. Sexuality becomes something they protect and cultivate, not something they quietly let fade away. Then came the third major finding, and it might be the most surprising. Women over 65 were significantly less likely to report sexual satisfaction. Menopause introduces changes like dryness, discomfort, hormonal shifts, and lower libido. These can make intimacy less desirable or even painful. Yet many women never seek help, believing these symptoms are unavoidable. In reality, solutions exist: treatments for dryness, options for libido, therapies for pain. In many cases, the problem isn't the body, it's the silence around the symptoms. If you're a woman over 65 or partnered with one, seeking guidance from a specialist can transform comfort, desire, and overall intimacy. These changes are real, but they're also manageable. So, after all this research, what's the real takeaway? Sexual well being remains important throughout life. It doesn't vanish with age, it evolves. And the factors that predict satisfaction are surprisingly human: health, connection, emotional closeness, and the belief that intimacy still matters. Maintaining physical health helps. Staying active, eating well, and managing chronic conditions all make a difference. But emotional health matters just as much. Older adults with strong social ties, friends, family, people who check in, tend to have better sexual satisfaction. And here's the part that often gets overlooked. Men especially struggle with maintaining friendships as they age. A simple message to a friend can strengthen a bond that protects emotional well being and sexual well being along with it. Intimacy is not just about sex, it's about connection, identity, vitality, and feeling alive at any age. Understanding what supports it gives people the power to protect it. And as always, take care of yourself because you're worth it.